lived down the street.
Yeah.
That was my living room.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're here at the Craft Beer Cellar again with Jimmy Craven, better known as Jimmy C.
Jimmy Donut.
Jimmy Donut, yeah, he's got a man of many names. He is a local musician. Like, how would you describe yourself, Jimmy? Like, what?
Yeah, I'm a
what,
local...
what do you do?
I just make sounds, you know, and rearrange molecules. That's all. You know, it's like I'm a gigger. I've never been famous. I just love making music, and I've been doing it since like forever. You know, just go out and play gigs, do shows, play with I do solo gigs, I do band gigs. I've been in bands that traveled. I just love getting in front of people and making sounds, you know, and it's just been great. And then about the past 8 or 9 years, I've been teaching as well, giving like private lessons on piano and guitar.
Nice.
But it was just something that I knew it. I know when I knew it too.
Yeah.
I went to see the Chubby Checker movie.
The Chubby
Twist.
Checker movie?
Chubby Checker was the guy who sang The Twist.
Yeah, I know who he is.
All right. He had a movie.
I didn't know he had a movie.
And somehow I ended up seeing it. My dad took me. And, I mean, Chubby Checker was, you know, a rock star in the time anyway. And he had cool clothes and he was like, sang and danced and everything. And I was like, we came out of the movie and I was like to my dad, I was like, oh, he's really cool. And my dad says, you want to just like learn from him, not be like him, right? And I was like, I'm like 10. I go, yeah, Dad, that's right. In my little head, I'm going, I want to be just exactly like him. Like I was totally starstruck, and it was just something about that. I had a guitar before that, but it was just something I always knew. I just always knew it. Didn't have any native talent. It wasn't in the home. I just knew it from a very early age that I was just going to be making music, and I've never given up. Just keep going.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Lucky. I always had the calling. I've never had the money.
Well,
you know.
Are you happy? That's
because my sister makes a lot of money, and she's jealous of me because I'm excited every morning. She does a job she hates, you know?
That's I just got out of a job that I hate, so like I know that dread of. So that dread of like every morning you wake up just loathing to go to work.
And sometimes I look at her and I just go, yeah, but you can have a lot of money, you can do stuff.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean anything.
It's not worth it. Yeah. So I've been lucky in that way.
That's awesome.
And you know, the creativity comes into music to some extent, and it also comes into like staying alive. The creativity of like a lifestyle that gigging can support.
Yeah.
That's a big part of it.
Yeah. So, just quick for our listeners, we are again here at the Craft Beer Cellar in Plymouth, Mass.
Beautiful place.
Yes, it's gorgeous. If you like beer, it's a place to go. And Jimmy is abstaining because he is not a beer drinker, but we are sampling from Revival Brewing Company in Rhode Island. It's a pale ale with a slight caramel aroma and citrus hop with a touch of pine. And it's a terrific pale ale with a 5.5% alcohol. And it's brewed by Sean Larkin, and it is called Burnside Pale Ale. And it's actually pretty damn tasty.
Sip it and let's see your face.
All right. So. Yeah, that's good.
Wow, big smile. Eyebrows up, big smile.
Yeah.
That's a good sign.
No, it's some pretty tasty stuff. So, Chubby Checker got you. I would have never in a million years guessed that.
And Elvis, too. We used to, we used to lip sync to Elvis records in the garage and strum a shovel.
And strum a shovel? That's awesome.
Those are my early explorations.
So when you gig, you play... My first experience watching Jimmy C play was at The Office when he did his World Beat music, and he would take, you name it, pop song and spin it and play it in a different world beat, and it was fantastic with Katie Bach.
Yeah.
Yeah, just great. Every Sunday was always down there. We may or may not have gotten drunk more than once.
I'm still doing that in a big way.
Yeah, getting drunk? I keep meaning to get down to Tomatoes and see, where can people see you? That's
all right, at Tomatoes I'm doing more of a 70s and 80s R&B
where's
dance
Tomatoes,
thing.
Jimmy?
Tomatoes on Route 130 in Sandwich, about 10 minutes over the bridge if you live in the South Shore.
Okay.
And I have two other people that I perform with there. One's a singer-guitarist. And we do what the crowd likes there, which is mostly 70s and 80s funk, disco, pop stuff, dance music, you know.
Nice.
And that's every Friday and Saturday And then the world beat thing you mentioned, which I'm still completely just in love with. I can't stop doing it. I'm doing that solo at the Middle East in Cambridge.
Sunday afternoons, right?
Every Sunday, 1 to 3 at the Middle East in Cambridge. You can hear, songs that go on vacation to places all over the world. And it's mostly instrumental piano music, but I have singers with me sometimes. And I'm just completely hooked and in love with that whole process of like reimagining a song and then putting it to beats from other parts of the world. I can't stop, dude.
My favorite covers were always the ones that took a cover and spun it almost to the point where you couldn't tell it was the original song. So when you guys were doing that, like I loved going down there and catching your show.
Thank you.
What is your favorite song to spin, and what are you spinning it into?
Oh, favorite song. Well, I'll tell you the one that seems to get the most sort of notice, and you probably heard us do this one. I'm still doing it solo. Was Lady Gaga's "Bad Romance"?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
It totally fell into being a Middle Eastern belly dancer song.
Yeah,
it just has that sound almost anyway.
Yeah.
The one that I'm doing right now is a little more obvious match for this whole idea. I'm doing "Under the Sea" from The Little Mermaid.
Okay.
It's so much fun. Yeah, and doing that as well. I went and heard this band called Inebri-art, and they do Bhangra beats, or Dhol, D-H-O-L, is North Indian beats. And I was listening to this concert. It was at the Sinclair in Boston. They were just on fire. These guys were... It's the kind of a drum you hold this way and beat on both ends.
Yeah.
And anyway, I was listening to that and I'm going, that would totally go with "Under the Sea." This is how my brain
It's so
works.
Weird how like inspiration hits, isn't
know.
it?
Well, the thing was, to me, the singer in "Under the Sea," I know he was trying to do Jamaica, but there was something about his accent that always sounded a little Pakistani or Indian, East Indian to me. There was something about those consonants. So anyway. So that one is like a work in progress. I've played it out, but it's not done yet. And then the next one I'm working on is Royals by Lord.
Oh, yeah.
And that one's going to go with a kind of a gypsy punk, Gogol Bordello sort of.
I just saw them last summer.
Oh!
And like...
Were we at the same show at the Paradise?
No, I was at Harbor Lights? No, it used to be it's Blue Hills Banquet.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
I saw them with Flog and Molly.
Nice.
Yeah, great show. And like I didn't even know who they were.
It's so good. But anyway, that heavy beat that they use and Start Wearing Purple. Boom, Royals. It's going to be a perfect match. It'll start real easy and then just build into this.
Have you heard, and I've been like singing their praise for years since I saw them, they actually opened for both of them, this band called Mariachi El Bronx.
No.
Oh my God.
Mariachi what?
El Bronx. It's a punk band that was called The Bronx, and their guitar player showed up one day at rehearsal and was like, I want to do a mariachi album. And they're like, right on, let's do a mariachi album.
Shut up.
And they put out 2 or 3, and they're so good. I'll have to send you some links.
It's like electric guitars?
No, straight mariachi. But a punk band.
Dude.
Oh, it's so good. So for our listeners, if you have not checked out Mariachi El Bronx, do so.
And Inebri-art and Gogol Bordello.
Gogol Bordello is fantastic. They put on a great show.
Yeah. So yeah, those are the songs that I'm working on right now, and it's just an ongoing. I got about 50, but it just takes a long time because it's a layers. It's a process of layers, like peeling an onion in reverse. It's like, what does this song want to be, and how can I reimagine it, and I reharmonize it, and sometimes, like you say, you don't know what song it is. Maybe the melody doesn't come out right away.
Yeah.
We just get a groove going and improvise a little bit, and then that's my passion and my joy right now.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Love it.
It was so much fun. Yeah. I keep threatening to go up and see you in Middle East, but it's always one of those.
It's a long drive.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But yeah, you got to get a gig down here.
Yes, yeah. I do.
Yeah,
I do. I just got to find a place down here that would, because it's a little peculiar.
Yeah, I get it. There's things going on in town.
You'll come in.
But so how do you just what do you pick? Just a popular song, or does that song have to kind of how do you pick a song? I get Under the Sea just came to you, but do you ever do kind of the opposite way? Hear a song and be like, oh, I got to find a beat for this?
It tends to start with the song rather than starting with the beat. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it starts with the song. I got to find a song. I mean, the most superficial level something that is going to sound good without vocals.
Yeah.
Because I do mostly instrumentally. I'm hoping to work a singer into it at some point. But, you'll listen to the song and take the lyrics out and take the voice out and say, is that melody strong on its own, or is the chord progression strong, or is there something about that? I'm pretty much just going to use the melody, and I might reharmonize it. And so I'm just listening to, is there something compelling about that melody? Or... Lord's just really cute, and I want to do one of her songs.
She is
so
adorable.
There's that too, sometimes it's just because I have a crush, And it really is about. And I've had some dead ends. I've had some songs. I'm trying to think of one right now. I tried to do "Need Somebody," "Use Somebody." I could use somebody.
Oh yeah.
Couldn't make it happen. And there have been others along the way. At some point, you just got to go. You got to break up with that song. We tried.
It's not you, it's me.
Over. Yes, exactly. So there are dead ends, of course. Yeah. And then occasionally I've taken, like when I was playing at the office, I would take requests from the help, just because I wanted them to feel included. And they suggested some songs that worked and some that didn't. I was able to make it work with Downtown by Country Band.
Yeah, no idea.
Yeah, and then that one worked.
Yeah.
I tried to do Beat It, which you might think Michael Jackson that would work really well.
Yeah.
Somehow I dead ended on that. And I got it into 5/4, and it just started to get too weird. And but mostly I'm just sniffing around. I've been a musician my whole life, and one of the things that good musicians do is they're like, you don't just listen. Mm-hmm. You're like a shark. You're like, what can I eat?
Yeah. Yeah. You need to go out and find it.
Yeah, I tell my kids, if you hear a song and it resonates for you in some way, put it in your phone, make a list. Because
it's so easy now. It's
exactly.
So easy now.
You can just, it's so easy now. You don't have to wait for it to come on the radio in the car or something,
or
right?
just to find a new band. Like I remember, I always had kind of weird tastes in music, and I remember people being like, I don't know these bands at all, and how did you hear about them? And I'd be like, oh, my buddy's buddy heard this song somewhere. Or, I heard this in a movie and had to find out. I mean, it's so easy now.
It could take forever. You go down to the library and
you can just go into Pandora and be like, I like this one band, and it's going to play you all sorts of shit.
Everything like that. Yeah,
it's fantastic.
It's totally true, and it's much easier now. But the idea about if you play music, and I tell this to my students all the time, if you play music, it's active now. It's not just passive. It's not, that song makes me feel good. It's like, can I use that song? Can I play that song? Can I do that song? What can I do with that song?
Yeah.
So that's been sort of built into me for a long time. It's like Lyle May's famous jazz pianist said, listening to music isn't relaxing for me anymore.
I never even thought
and
that.
It's very true.
Yeah.
It's not. I'm too active. I'm actively
I never
involved.
thought, because I usually put music on when I'm not. I don't want to say not listening to it, but it's kind of like background.
Ambient.
Yeah, it's background, or I'm going to hum a little bit and I'm doing something else.
That's what it is for most people, and I'm not sure if what I'm saying is true of all musicians, but it's completely true for me.
No, Jimmy, you need to speak for every musician.
Yeah, it's like, no, sometimes I just even have to turn off the CD or my whatever music I'm playing in the car because I'm just not going to drive well. I'm just too active with it. Not physically.
Do you know why I pulled you over? Because you played the wrong note. It's killing me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's really, really active for me. It's not relaxing, but that's okay because I like being a participant.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because, and don't take this the wrong way at all, because I love hanging out with you guys, but I almost don't like listening to the bar band with you and Krieg, and Kristen's the same way. Because, some are just flat out bad, there's no question, but you'll be like, oh, this is not, and this is a third, and I'm like, I don't even know what the hell you're talking about, and I just want to hear the song.
I know. It's so, and you're right.
Do you ever do you miss that? Do you miss that ability just to kind of listen to the song?
Yes.
Yeah.
And there are songs occasionally that will break through that and just give me chills and reduce me to puddle of pus, and that can still happen,
Have you ever found yourself playing air guitar on a shovel?
Yes.
And why not? Why don't you do that more, Jim?
If I had a shovel, I would. I've used a broom recently.
All right, well, that's good.
And I do a lot of kitchen dancing.
Kitchen dancing is awesome.
Yeah, kitchen dancing is good. But, when you talk about that, yes, sometimes songs break through, and there's songs that can break through as long as they don't play them.
Yeah.
Jersey Girl, Bruce's cover of Tom Waits' song.
No, I don't.
Bruce covered a Tom Waits song back in the early 80s, and it's called Jersey Girl. And it's simple. It's not something you would expect a musician to be drawn to. It's just a very, very simple, but it's so heartfelt. Yeah. And the way the band did it, I'm a Tom Waits fan anyway, I can hear that. I don't sit around and play it a lot.
Right.
But anytime that comes on, I'm just frozen. I just can't even move.
Yeah.
And another one is Angel by what's her name? Singer-songwriter Sarah McLachlan.
Okay.
McLaughlin. Another one. And then
I can't relate her to anything other than those god awful pet commercials now.
Yeah, I know. No, it's just this one song that she did that was and then just yesterday, I'm with a student. I'm introducing a student, and her mom was in the lesson. And this is going to sound cheesy, but I like cheese. This chick named Louisa Wendorf is a YouTube phenom, and she and a guy friend of hers are singing a mashup of Blank Space and Style by Taylor Swift. And I know.
But this is the thing, is sometimes that music's good.
It's really good.
I have songs in my shuffle that people come over to my desk to talk to me, and you'd be like, trying to fast forward it just so people don't see what the hell you're listening to, because you're like, no.
Yeah. And I'm doing that with you right now, but in general, I've given up my apologies for liking Taylor Swift music, and here's why.
If it's good.
Some of it's really good.
Yeah.
Some of it is really good. She's got top-notch producers and everything working with her. But the real reason I gave up early on bashing Taylor Swift was I teach a lot of grammar school, middle school, and high school kids, and I see her express their feelings.
Oh, wow.
And when you see middle school girls having their feelings expressed by someone, because Taylor's only 14 emotionally anyway, probably. So, but that's
the important thing about any creative thing.
It's incredibly valid. It's so valid. I see them. And then they sing and play this song, and their whole heart goes into it, because there aren't that many writers that speak for them.
Right.
And it really does. And I stopped bashing her a long time ago, because there's the validity. She's expressing people's feelings.
I hate to say it this way, it'll be a very obvious reason when I say it, but as I get older, I feel like I am way less judgmental about what people like.
It's really good.
When I was a teenager, it was very much like, I can't listen to that, it's rap, or I can't listen. Now it's just good. I like it. Well, I don't give a shit if you don't like it or not. I like it. You can not like it. You can hate it. That's cool.
Exactly. And I think that's generally true about everything. When you're 15, you know everything.
Right,
and now we realize...
You know what I'm saying? It's I hate saying that.
And now we realize we don't know anything at all. Every year I'm
going to go home and yell at people to get off my lawn now. But
I think that's true. You totally get more open-minded, and you see that in great artists like filmmakers, painters, older songwriters, the light comes in more, It tends to start very dark with young artists. And as artists mature...
I'm a firm believer that any creative person has baggage, darkness.
Yeah.
Creativity comes from a very dark place.
It totally does, but if they stay with it and they don't kill themselves or something... It tends to almost always get lighter. It's one of the values of old age, the really older painters and the older filmmakers. It goes with what you just said. You're less judgmental about other things. You see the beauty in a lot more stuff. And
you you feel almost the less need to defend your like.
Yes.
So, in not defending your like, you let other people like whatever the hell they want.
It's liberating, isn't it?
Because you're like... I don't give a shit what you like.
Right.
Country music, I don't like it, but go ahead.
Go ahead.
Except for Wagon Wheel. Wagon Wheel is totally different. Fuck that song.
Poor Wagon Wheel. Here's what I'm going to say about Wagon Wheel. And in the 70s, it was Brown Eyed Girl. There's just
Yeah, but I like that.
No song. Well, yeah, but it took the same beating.
Yeah.
It's no matter how good a song is...
If you hear it 600,000 times.
The exposure, it's not fair to the song even. But it's okay. I think it's okay still to get pissed off once in a while about a song.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah.
As long as it doesn't make you angry, because music is supposed to bring people together and not divide people.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons I went into music goes along with what you just said. That's cool if you like that. That's cool if you like that. I don't like sports much. And sports, only one person or one team can win, and in music, everybody can win.
Yeah, totally.
That's one of the reasons I loved it from the beginning. It's, go ahead, you like your country? Go ahead, that's cool. We can all win.
And that's
except at the Grammy ceremony, but otherwise,
But that's a perfect example. As a sports, in a sport, your team wins and the other guys are losers. But you can go to a festival that has, I'm back in the day, was Lollapalooza, and it was all sorts of music, and everybody...
Levitation.
Yeah. Coachella, you name it now, and that's the thing to do. And you're right, everybody wins, If your band's not playing, go wait in the beer line, and that's it's such a great thing.
It's a beautiful thing. So, where were we? It doesn't matter where we were.
It doesn't matter where we were. Yeah. But you brought up teaching. So, how long have you been teaching?
I started in 2006.
So 10 years.
That was 10 years.
It was 10 years. Happy
in
anniversary.
A row.
Yeah, in a row.
Wow. And it's just part-time, because it's not doing classroom public school. I'm doing private lessons in conservatories. I started at the Cape Cod Conservatory. I was living down there. Moved up to the South Shore Conservatory. I've been there since 2009. So
how did that come to be? And did you have apprehensions about teaching?
Well, here's the thing. I never liked kids.
Yeah.
I grew up not wanting kids, not really liking them. Was like, just, go ahead. It's okay if you like country music.
Just keep your snot-nosed country music away.
Not interested in it at all.
Yeah.
And there was a perfect storm of three things that happened. One was I didn't really like kids. The other one was had been playing mostly synthesizers for a really long time and not much actual piano music, And I started to hear stuff, and I started to fall back in love with the piano gradually, and kids started liking me, and I don't know how that happened. But
who doesn't like Jimmy C?
Nephews of friends and stuff like that, or kids of friends would start reaching out to me, and I started to like them too. And this was a period of a few years, you know. Around the same time that I was falling in love with the piano again, because we do waves, I do 10 years of guitar, 10 years of piano, synthesizer, whatever. And then, so I started connecting with kids. I loved the piano again. And then there was another thing where I had reached a certain age that I felt like I had something to give back. Yeah. Based on street experience as much as anything. I didn't come out of college with the intent to teach at all. Yeah. And I tried a little bit, and I was like, no, not for me. I did taught for 1 year at a college. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. Well, all these things happened, and it just felt completely right. And I didn't have the degree. I had a music degree, a Bachelor of Music, but I didn't have a teaching degree. But they let me in the door, and it just flowed. I have to work at music. I've always had to work at it. It does not come. I don't have that instinct and that talent that we say. Yeah. The teaching thing.
Thank you for doing air quotes around talent.
Right?
I hate that word.
Yeah, I do hate that word too, but that's what we say about people who just get it. Yeah. And I was never one of those people that just get it. It's always been pulling teeth, blood, sweat, and tears. But the teaching thing just works. Now, I'm in a situation where, talk about creativity, there's no syllabus, or what do they call that thing? I don't even know what you call it, what a teacher's supposed to teach.
Class.
And they have the list of things they're supposed to teach.
Syllabus,
isn't that
thing.
That's a... But anyway, whatever that thing they call it, I don't even know the name of it.
Syllabus. Let's call it syllabus.
Yeah, call it a syllabus.
All right.
Silly butts. And we're on our own. We're like free agents. So, find a way to connect with this kid, find music they love, teach them however best you can.
Well, I remember you telling a story, and if you could tell our listeners this story about, is it an autistic student that you have, and the burp?
Oh, the what?
And the burp.
What about the burp?
And excuse me.
Oh, yes! Yeah. That was a teacher thing. That's right.
Yeah. So this is good. I like the story.
All right. I had a student who was high-function special needs, but it was an hour lesson, and, I needed to keep it really fun to keep him engaged. And as I say, he was super smart, amazingly talented musically. But, we had to, I decided to, make up some games, and he wasn't a kid. So we made up this song where you play these, sort of jazz-sounding chords. And then we would burp, and then we do the next few chords, and then burp again. And we're just getting stitches about it, It was just so much fun. And that was his warm-up song. It taught him 3 or 4 jazz chords. Yeah. And we got to belch really loud. Yeah. And I said, it's okay to belch as long as you say, excuse me. So we'd go, bup, 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 excuse me! And then we just keep playing again. So that's stayed on in my, like, he influenced me a lot, because now if I belch in public, I'll go, excuse me!
That's how I heard the stories, because you did that, and, like, everyone's looking at you like, the hell's wrong with Jimmy?
I can't stop doing it. I can't stop doing it. Those are my teaching credentials. There it is right there. And
that's great.
I tried to get him. He was in a private school, and I tried to get him to go into the cafeteria and grab the microphone out of the closet and do it. But, because I'm a bad influence on the children, but he didn't do it.
No.
I said, you said, excuse me, they can't get mad at you. What the heck? Yeah, good story. Thank you. Yeah, but I love the teaching. It flows for me because I just like connecting with people, and that's really what it's for, is just to connect with them.
And I've been teaching now for 2 years, give or take, painting, and it wasn't something that I chose. It was something that was kind of thrust upon me.
Interesting.
And it's going to sound weird, but it gave me a respect for Bob Ross.
Oh, excellent!
Because I never cared for Bob Ross, and was always like,
well, he's easy to make fun of.
He's super easy to make fun of. And again, now I have an older perspective, but I got what he was doing. Like, after teaching, I'm like, oh, I fucking get it now. Like it wasn't about creating the Mona Lisa. It was taking someone and kind of ushering them into
that's so great, man. Are you going to get a fro now that you could wear?
No, I'm not going to do the fro thing.
It's beautiful. A cheap pet on your head.
Yeah, no, that's not going to happen. I just did away with the long hair.
That's cool. And are you teaching one-on-one or classes?
No, I teach drunken soccer moms at bars. We
you're Inebri-art. I went to that. That was awesome.
Oh, well, that's a life drawing. We don't really. I mean,
that's not teaching.
That's not
really.
structured. We do some painting structure.
Okay,
but it's super.
I was going to say, you didn't teach me.
And I don't want to say drunken
beyond reaching.
Soccer moms in any derogatory way. I love my students. They're a lot of fun.
Drunken soccer mom is a beautiful thing.
You should come to our classes, Jim. But it's at a bar, and 90% of our clientele is women getting out for the night.
That's so great, dude.
It's their escape. It's so much fun. It's so great, and they're a lot of fun.
Cool.
And it's that great. It's so cool when someone's like, I can't do this, and at the end of the night they're like, this looks right. I'm like, yeah, it's fucking supposed to. And so it's
cool. And do they come back? Do you get to like coach the same person more
than
once?
Yeah. And that's the other cool thing, is you get to see them kind of grow and get better. And then you're like, well, why aren't you painting on your own? And so that's my new kind of goal, is to have someone come in and be like, look what I painted when I wasn't here.
Well, do what I do. Give them homework. So this is your playlist. This is your, you got to go home and do something. Come back with something, or you're not invited. I don't know. You can't do that with grown-ups, I guess. But, so how did you decide how to teach people? Did you read up on it or talk to somebody?
No, just totally off the cuff.
Yeah, that's kind of what I did. It's something that works.
We had someone who was teaching who kind of stepped away from it, and it just was like, we need someone. And I'm like, well, I'm one of those people who, this is the problem. I'm going to solve the problem. We have no one else. I'm going to do it.
This is like the Broadway story. Understudy steps up.
Yeah, and it was just kind of like, I don't know I know what I did to make it look the way it looks, and I'm going to try and explain it to you, and that's all I do.
I mean, if you've been drawing and painting your whole life, and if you aren't just a completely unconscious genius, you've had to do some thinking about it.
Jimmy,
I'm not saying you're not.
I hate to break this to you. I am an unconscious genius.
Set that one up for him. Yeah. I mean, the truly beyond brilliant people just don't even know how they do what they do. And they become not very good teachers. The rest of us, and I'm inclined to put you in the very high end of this category.
Well, thank you, Jimmy.
Maybe sub-genius.
Just sub-genius? Yeah.
Sub-genius. We've had to think about some parts of it or get advice on some parts of it.
I'd be genius, but I smoked too much weed in high school.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
But that's, my greatest qualification as a teacher is that I had to figure out a lot of stuff. It didn't just come out of my fingers, or my voice.
It's a very interesting experience.
If you've worked on improving yourself, those are the tools that become your teaching tools because you had to figure stuff out that maybe didn't come right away for you. And sounds like that's what you did.
Yeah.
Or you're just the unconscious genius that you are. And you're so cute that they learn from you anyway.
Well, thank you, Jimmy. And,
You think?
I'm usually half in the rapper when I teach him.
By the way, there's no one else in the room. I'm speaking to my imaginary friend.
We talk to Fish, and he doesn't talk to us. So And for our listeners who don't know, Fish, I suppose, is our producer, technician, all-around go-getter kind of guy.
I just wish you'd get him to wear pants, though. It's
really distracting.
It's really,
it is. Yeah. I get it. Sorry.
It's disturbing.
Yeah. So what the hell were we talking about now? Teaching.
And you're teaching now, too, and that's great.
Yeah.
So why did I begin teaching? That was it. It was not my calling at first, and it came in later at a time when, I connected with kids. I was coming back to the piano in a really big way, and I felt like I had something to share.
So you've been teaching for 10 years. Have any of your students, become, I hate to say it like that.
Famous?
No. Fuck famous. I was going to say, it has become a musician, but I think, if you're playing, you're a musician, but, has anyone chosen it as their profession? That's the way I should be.
Good question. There are many about whom I'm not sure because I don't necessarily...
I'm sure you lose track of
I lose track. Some don't stay until the end of high school, or they do. But, so there are a couple that went on to major in music.
Nice.
And then I lose track. I try not to dog the kids, when they graduate and they go to college.
Right.
I hope to hear stories. But it's a funny thing because I get really close with my students and we can be really good friends. And as soon as they go away to college and come back, there's this, they've changed so much. And they come back at Christmas or something and we try to talk and it's just...
It's weird and awkward?
Well, it's weird and awkward because they've changed dramatically and we don't have that weekly connection of the songs. We don't have a job that we're doing together and stuff. But
that's a really volatile time, that first year of college.
Yeah. Plus, I don't remember a goddamn thing, so I taught you what?
Yeah.
What?
That's funny.
I can't remember anything before yesterday, so no. Yes, to answer your question, a couple of them had gone on at least to major in music in college, which is a really good start, and a couple of them have gone on to have high school and college bands where they play out and do stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah, there was one. And they're waiting till they're 18. There was one that I kept in touch with, and they could only play all ages shows.
Right,
and then he finally hit 18, and now they're playing the Irish Place in Norwell, the Irish pub in Norwell. Anyway, they're playing in clubs around the area, and there was a guy who, was one of my students who... I don't know if he's making a living, but I'm not even sure if I do. So, he's gigging. They've been real success stories.
Nice, that's awesome.
And
so I don't know if I've told you, but my son is now playing.
No,
he
playing out.
Yeah, not playing out, but he's playing.
What's he playing?
He plays saxophone.
Cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah, super cool. And
alto, tenor.
Tenor. No, alto. Excuse me.
Yeah.
So last summer, he's like, I'm in jam camp. So they take the kids and assemble these bands and teach them
at the public school.
No, it's at some music school in Taunton, and they kind of teach them to be a band.
That's awesome.
And it's fantastic.
It's really good.
I went to pick them up one day, and the band's coming out, and it's 3 dudes and this chick, and I turned to my girlfriend. I'm like, "Oh, that band's never gonna last." She's like, "What?" I'm like, "It can't last." As a girl, and she's like, "That's sexist." I'm like, "No, it's not that." I'm like, just 2 of those dudes are gonna like her. It's just gonna happen.
It's gonna be a fight. That's what we. And that's what I always say when I see a chick in a band. I go, "Who's dating the singer?"
Yeah.
Because
and when's it gonna end?
Because you kind of have to, especially if you're in a real working band and you're just traveling all the time. Somebody's got to date the singer,
right? Yeah.
But I know what you're saying.
Yeah,
it's totally true. We sound like genderists right now. But
it's got nothing to do with gender. It's just, well, I suppose it does, but it's
we're sexist. Let's call it what it is.
Sure.
We're sexist. I'm not a genderist. I'm a damn sexist.
There's 1 girl and 3 guys.
Yeah.
And that's just not a good mix.
It's not a good mix.
No.
They're all going to be wanting her.
But it turned so I asked him.
But it's only a summer fling.
It was only a summer thing, and at the end, yeah. And at the end, I'm like, "So you guys going to play again?" He's like, "Oh well, they have other bands," and he's like, "I'm working on this thing with."
And her boyfriend's mad at us.
Yeah, Her boyfriend from her other band. Yeah. No. So no, it's just
good.
Yeah,
I'm doing one right now. I'm coaching a band, and there's 4 middle school girls, drums, violin, piano, and guitar or ukulele.
Shut up.
Yeah, and one of them sings, and we're doing songs by 21 Pilots and
that's
that's
just
band
really
Perry
cool
and stuff.
Yeah,
very cool. And I like.
What's the name of the band? Give it a plug.
They haven't named it yet. We just had our first class on Monday.
Oh, all right.
Right. And so I make arrangements that they can play that make it sound like the song, and I love like quirky bands like that. Like,
that's the kind of stuff that catches
on. 4 Sweaty
too.
Boys with 2 guitars, a bass, and a drum. Let somebody else do that. They got that.
Right.
I just like really peculiar sounding stuff.
No, that's
so band coaching is super
sure with the
fun.
kind of not the world beats peculiar, but it's that kind of
it is peculiar.
Yeah, it's that you're not going to hear something else like that. And it's got
And these girls are like super talented, and like they're putting these songs together, and to hear like ukulele, violin, piano, voice, and drums.
That's a weird mix.
It's very cool.
Yeah, that's
very
awesome.
cool. So band coaching is cool. I don't do a lot of it.
Yeah.
But when I do, I like it. Yeah.
That's a lot of fun. So kind of spinning back to what we were talking about before, World Beat, why haven't you done a Chubby Checker song? And I'm totally putting you on the spot.
Dude, you just pinned me to the wall.
That's all right. I did it to our last podcast, too.
It's a really good question.
I just feel like
respect my roots.
I know, right? Like,
it's going to be a tough fit, man.
There's got to be something.
I got to look into his catalog. I think the twist isn't melodically compelling enough, but he must have
something
else.
I wouldn't pick the twist.
He did The Fly. What else did he do?
I don't know, man.
Limbo Rock.
Yeah.
Well, that's almost Latin already.
There you go.
How does that go?
I don't know. I'm
not a boy and girl.
Oh, that was him?
Around the
okay, yeah.
Was that him?
That's kind of...
Was that him or was that Harry Belafonte?
I think it's Harry Belafonte, isn't it?
I don't think so. I don't think Harry Belafonte ever sang the word
rock. Hey, Fish,
rock.
Can you Google that for us?
I don't think Harry Belafonte used the word rock unless it was a stone or something. But let's see. Let's see.
We'll have our researchers look that up.
Send a message down to the research department.
All right, hang on.
Anyway, dude, you got me on that one. That's a really good one.
Was it Chubby Checker? I guess it's Chubby Checker. All right, then.
There it is.
Yeah.
So, all right.
But
what?
Just Latin? I don't know. That's...
No, I'll change it. Maybe I'll make it African.
There you go. There you go.
It was
makes like a Harry Belafonte.
I could make a Caribbean.
Yeah.
Caribbean would work for it.
Some steel drum.
Yeah, totally. I think Caribbean might be the way to go.
Yeah.
Just do it like that. Because then it will play into Harry Belafonte. Matilda.
Yeah.
Matilda should take the money. People are going to hear this and go, that dude can't even sing on key. Is he really a musician?
Yeah.
All right, dude. Throwdown.
Yeah.
When you said, how do you decide what song to do? You just showed me a new way to decide what song to do.
Someone just
you have a blogger call you out on
I'm sorry,
camera,
we're not a blogger. We're a podcaster.
I'm sorry, I have a podcaster call you out on mic.
That's going to be my thing. I think I'm going to call people out every episode.
I'm sorry. I think that's really good. A throwdown. An assignment, if you will.
You said give them homework.
Yeah.
I gave you homework.
Bastard. You fucker.
Yeah, but see, now you got to think. You'd be like, hey, I finished that Chubby Checker thing. I'd be like, that's great. When are you playing it? I'm playing it in the Middle East. I'd be like, shit.
Well, how about this? Since you called me out and since I used the B word instead of the P word, I use blog instead of
it's podcast. I'm like, the B word, the P word. What are we talking about?
So how about then I send you a finished product or I bring it down and play it for you here on the P.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Right?
We'll
have you back and play. Dude, that'd be awesome.
It's going to take time, but when it's
no.
ready...
Well, we don't want you like every episode, so we'll bring you back in a little...
You don't?
Well, I mean, I do, but we want to mix it up a little bit.
So, I think there's the throwdown, and it may take months. Sometimes take months.
That's fine.
I'm going to come back and do an in-studio performance.
Oh, that'd be awesome. That'd be the shit right there.
All right.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Limbo.
I'm super excited now.
Something
by
to look forward
to. Our 3 listeners will be like on the edge of their seats.
Right now, they're just going Chubby Checker. They're looking it up, going, "What is that? Is that a game or something? Is it some kind of a board game?
Is that like chess?
Yeah,
Dad.
Is that for chess for fat people or something? What the hell?"
And their father will be like, I think that's the guy who played with the Fat Boys at one time. Remember that when they did the rap version?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right. The Fat Boys. I love the Fat Boys.
Yeah.
Well,
that was the era where I wasn't allowed to like other music than I liked. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, you had to keep it narrow. But that's how you defined yourself. Now you don't care if you have a definition.
Yeah, exactly.
Beyond that. I have something that I want to share that's like, because I didn't know what we were going to talk about. I didn't know it was going to be quite so specific about me. I have something generally around creativity that I'd like to talk about.
Talk whatever you want.
Famous cellist named David Darling.
Okay.
He was in the Paul Winter Consort years ago, and he also does like legit orchestral stuff. Just one of those sick players, and a crazy bird, because the Paul Winter Consort was a very creative, unusual ensemble, and this guy used to play an eight-string cello with a wah-wah pedal and stuff in the 70s.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
But a beast, and has all the technique and the skills, and can play concertos as well. And he came a couple of years ago to talk to the faculty at the South Shore Conservatory where I teach about creativity.
Yeah.
And he just talked about teaching, and talked about music, and talked about everything. And he was so fascinating. But here's my takeaway, and something I'll probably never, ever forget. And I have it on a sticky note on my wall so I don't ever forget. He's talking about how people try to define art. And he goes, we argue over the definition of art. We argue over whether something's art or not. Definition of art changes. When jazz started, it was like outlawed dance music, and now it's an art form.
Right.
And endless examples like that. And he goes, let's just stop, okay? Let's stop the argument. Here's my definition. Art is making something you love. Period.
There's really no better definition than that.
Isn't that beautiful, though? It's so simple and so beautiful and so inclusive. It could be chicken soup. It could be a painting on the wall of the Smithsonian, or whatever. Or do they have paintings at the Smithsonian? At the
Louvre?
The Louvre, thank you.
Yeah.
That, to me, has always been, really helpful in just getting out of the box and punching your way out of the bag, or whatever your metaphor is.
Well, it's funny because, since we have started this literally hours ago, people are like, well, how did you come up with the idea? Like, what made this happen? And it's like, I like listening to podcasts, and, we kind of talked about, let's do an art podcast, and like, well, art's very visual. How do we do that? And then I saw a podcast. It wasn't even a podcast. It was like a video conversation with Jerry Seinfeld, Louis C.K., Chris Rock, and Ricky Gervais. And
were they just cracking jokes all the time?
It was the four of them sitting around talking
riffing
about their creative process.
Were they serious?
Absolutely. It was absolutely
Wow.
as serious as you're ever going to get for comedians.
Yeah.
But,
that must have been amazing.
Oh, it was phenomenal. In comparison between, because Jerry Seinfeld works very clean.
Yeah.
Opposed to Louis C.K. and Chris Rock, who do not.
Yeah.
And it was really, really interesting. And, I was glued to it. And it occurred to me that the creative process is the interesting thing. Yeah. So it's like, I don't give a shit what you paint, draw, sing, or what. It's how did you get there?
Yeah.
And that's what really interests me. And that's why I plan to bring artists and musicians, and we're trying to line up a chef, and just creative people, and what makes them tick. And that's why it should be a little bit about you and anything you want to talk about. And so that was a very cool story. But
I gotta go listen to that one.
Yeah.
That's very cool. It's visceral, I'm sure you know this from painting and stuff, is when it's right, you almost tingle or whatever.
There's a feeling.
There's a feeling. In the case of music, I may actually stand up and start dancing. Yeah. And sometimes that's how I check my beats too. Yeah. Is flowing? Is it really flowing, or I just think it's flowing? Can I dance to this?
When I'm painting and no one's watching, which people like to watch me paint, it's weird.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, they watch poker on TV.
Yeah.
So.
It almost become. I feel so stupid saying this.
It's
a dance.
Yes, it is.
Because you're kind of moving, and you're hitting the canvas, and you're stepping back.
It should be,
and it's a whole
right. And de Kooning and all those guys were definitely dancing,
and you're so involved without really thinking about it, and it's so instinctual that it just kind of everything melts away.
It's totally true, and that's what you look for. And when you get immersed like that and lose yourself, or dance, or whatever it is, that visceral reaction, that's when you know that you're onto something. Yeah. That's how you tell. Yeah. It's not an idea or a thought, it's a feeling. Yeah. It's just damn.
And then there's nothing worse when you turn around, someone's standing there, and you're like, oh, hey!
Oh, yeah.
How long you been there?
I don't want anybody in the room when I'm figuring stuff out.
Yeah. So we've covered that you do a lot of covers, but do you write your own stuff, and how does that where does your inspiration?
I work backwards from it. I had a degree in composition. I was a composer in college. I wrote some songs in high school with the band I had then, and then started composing, and what I was really interested in doing in college was avant-garde chamber music. So I started writing just
avant-garde chamber.
Yeah, and there was a lot of it around at that time.
Really?
Well, it's still around. I shouldn't say then. But, you know, it's like John Cage and that kind of stuff. You know, that's really out there. You ever heard of that guy's name?
No, I'm going to have to totally look that up.
All right, this is some really freaky sounding shit, okay? Yeah. And that's what that's what comes out of me naturally. Freaky sounding shit. That's
okay.
Yeah, and so that was my major in college, and I did it, and I did it, and I did it. And I got out of college, and now what do I do to make money?
Yeah, wait, you're not going to pay me for that?
Yeah, and of course, you know, when you're 18, you don't think that far ahead.
Yeah,
so I got my degree, Bachelor of Music and Composition, and what the hell do I do? And the stuff I was writing wasn't mainstream enough to be like, well, maybe film scores or games or something.
Right.
No, this stuff was out, and the only thing I could do to support myself with that music was to go back and become a college professor. And I hated the academic environment.
Yeah.
I hated it.
It is not conducive to creativity.
It wasn't my scene at all. I limped through it, and I got good grades and everything else, but I hated it. So I just went back to gigging. I did what any guitar player would do.
Right, yeah.
Went back to gigging, yeah. And started gigging.
Wagon wheel it is!
Yeah, I love that song. So, the kind of music that I really want to compose will just be a hobby.
Yeah.
And I've got a thing, man. It's like I throw myself into whatever music project I'm doing with my whole heart. I'm passionate about it. I'll work really hard. I love doing it. I gotta make some money at the end of the day. I just had that built-in thing. I don't like hobby music.
We were just talking about it, and it's like any creative person has to. You're either working a 9-to-5 job and doing your creative thing afterwards, or you have to find that. I mean, God bless anyone who has figured it out to the point where they do what they want and people are paying them for it.
Right.
That's awesome, but in reality, the majority of people have to kind of do what they can to make a living, right, and then try and work that other stuff in.
Right, exactly.
And that's so difficult.
I'm sort of on that. And the other half of what I'm trying to say, that's exactly spot on to what I was saying. And the other half of it is, I don't even like to play it for free. I really want some validation. I need financial validation. I really think that it's wrong to give art away.
I absolutely agree.
And so that there are plenty of guys who are songwriters who are out there and doing showcases and they're happy to play for free, and it's their joy. The joy is in just the doing of it. And I feel all of that joy in the doing of it, all the way up to the point where somebody's just got to give me a couple of bucks, a pittance, something, because they think it's, like you said, it's wrong to give it away.
I've had a lot of people like, hey, can you draw this for me? And you're like, yeah, sure, this is kind of my going rate. And they're like, oh. And you're like, I'm sorry, did you want me to draw it for free? You have to have the same experience. And artists I hear complain about this all the time is that, well, that's expensive. Like, how long is it going to take you? It's not just the time you're paying me, for the hour to draw it. It's for the 40 years it took me to learn to draw it in an hour. And, it's... you don't think twice about paying your plumber, your auto mechanic, $20-$30 an hour. I'm asking for like 12, and you're like giving me shit.
You got two stories to go along with that. One is one of my college composition professors. When someone asked, "How long did it take you to write that piece?" he would just give his age.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Isn't that great?
I love that. Yeah. I'm stealing that.
Totally use that.
That is the best thing ever.
It's so true, right?
It is.
And
That's so good.
Yeah, and then the other one is, this is a fictional story about, a guy calls up a band leader, I need you to play my daughter's wedding. And it's Saturday night from 8 to 12, and it's going to be at our house, and I would like a 6-piece band. And the guy goes, okay, that'll be $2,000. He goes, $2,000 for music? Are you crazy? The band leader goes, well, call up 6 plumbers. Have them come to your house Saturday night for 4 hours. Yeah. We'll do it for half of whatever they charge you.
Oh, that's good, too.
That's a good one. But I don't sit around getting angry about this. I'm not one of those, like, some musicians
some
really
people
get
pissed. Like, yeah.
I'm just not that way because I've been lucky, I guess, or I just go where I'm welcome, that I've been able to get paid for it. But when you say, are you a songwriter? I'm backing up into that story still. So I go, I'm looking at my life, and I'm in my mid-20s, and I go, the music I really, really like to write nobody gives a shit about, and I don't want to be a college professor.
But this is the weird thing, Jimmy. I'm going to give you another homework assignment.
This is hard work.
I know,
man.
right? No, but nowadays someone gives a shit, and it's so easy to reach
exactly,
people. You know,
exactly.
So,
and
because we're gonna play that Chubby Checker
right there, you go.
Mix, and it's gonna be a viral video, and then,
yes, and I think that what I'm doing now. What I was doing then was a lot more esoteric.
Yeah.
What I'm doing now, this world beat stuff, is definitely. I mean, I've been playing every Sunday for a year, and people really enjoy it.
Yeah.
The other things that led me around to what I'm doing is even when I was a full-time composer, well, not supporting myself, but when I was composing all the time,
Yeah.
you know, melody is really important in music, and I would always be, I can't wait to get the melody done so I can start with the treatment, the harmonization, the orchestration, the beat. What is it going to be? You know?
Yeah.
And by nature, I've always been someone who's like, yeah, melody's important, but I love the other stuff, which is more of what an arranger does in pop music, you know? And that's carried me to where I am today. Was I'm happy. Give me a melody. Come on, just give me a song. Give me a cool melody. Because that's the least interesting part to me. It's almost a tyranny to me to write a melody when you think there's only 7 notes in the scale,
right.
and people are writing 1 million songs a year, and you know,
with the same
a
7
day
notes. Yeah.
with the same 7 notes. How many different shapes can you make pasta into with flour and water, and they're all the same ingredients?
Right.
It's the same thing. So that's why this doing covers thing works really well for me. I end up composing melodies within sub melodies or counter melodies or introductions or endings, but I was always way more interested in the harmonization, you know, the colors, the textures. I've always been more interested in that, and that makes me happy as a sideman. It makes this thing work, so that's why I'm not an active writer right now.
Yeah.
You hear these songs, and you know there's stuff in there that wasn't in the original song. I'm making stuff up. I'm making up stuff that goes with it. But I ended up, and I'm a horrible lyricist, dude. Oh my God. Like, I could write instrumental music if I practiced to get back into it. If I started writing instrumental music again, I'd be, all right, I'll write the melody, I'll do that, but don't ask me to write any fucking words.
Yeah.
I've just never had that. I mean, I could collaborate, but I love this. I found something that I've only been on this 5 or 6 years, but I cannot even slow down. I'm on it all the time. I love it. So it suits me in the sense that somebody else wrote the damn melody. I really don't care.
Yeah.
As long as it's engaging. You know, a cool melody of some sort, a tune. It's the other stuff, man. Dress it up.
Yeah.
Like, send me the model, I'll dress her up.
Right.
You know?
I'll take you give me the pasta, I'll make the dish.
Yeah. Kind of like that. So that's why I'm not, like, writing, like, my own music start to finish kind of a thing. This suits me perfectly.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, anything creative it's about what you enjoy and what gets you going.
Yeah.
You know?
And then the familiar tune becomes a bridge from the sounds and textures that I just love creating to the person who's listening. They go, oh, there's something for them to hold on to that's familiar, and then they can explore the rest of it.
The nice thing is you get that you're getting your fulfillment, what you really want to do with it.
Yeah.
But in the same aspect, it gives you that marketability.
Exactly.
Where you're like, I play covers, and that's what bars want.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
Yeah, because it's like people go out, sure, you want to hear, throw me one song you wrote, but people want to hear something that they can connect with and hum along.
Exactly.
And
and I'm doing that on some level consciously because I'm choosing pretty popular songs.
Right.
You know, I do a couple of obscure things that got a...
Under the Sea is not that popular right now. I don't know if you're familiar. That was like circa 1992 or earlier.
Is that classic rock now? Dude, people from...
Under the Sea is not rock at all.
Dude, people from 8 years old to 90-year-olds smile when they hear that song. That is like universal
absolutely.
Across the generations.
It's one of those songs they kind of play like everyone's seen that movie.
Yeah.
You know, and everyone will always see that movie.
Yeah, so, it's just happy. And I mean, a lot. You know, some of the things I'm doing are real dark too. It's not as though everything I'm doing is happy, happy, joy, joy, bouncy, bouncy. Some of these things you remember, you heard it when you heard it.
Well, like, you guys covered Heart Shaped Box.
Yeah.
And that was excellent. That was I'm a big Nirvana fan, and that was like one of my favorite songs that you guys did.
Yeah, and I've done other dark stuff. I'm doing like, pretty dark version of Tainted Love, and I just took What was the one they did? Like, it took like Riptide and turned it into this sort of dreary French melody, French waltz kind of a thing. Took Riptide and turned it into a kind of a dark sounding French waltz.
Yeah.
So I like both sides, but come on, Under the Sea. Come on.
Oh,
this is going to be fun.
I can't wait to hear it.
The other total...
Well, if you come back, you got to play that one too.
I'll play that one too.
All right.
The other total crowd pleaser that I added recently was, and this was on request, was Obladi Beatles.
Oh,
Which
nice.
is easy fit to World Beat, but I ended up throwing in some other things. And I mean, it's fun because I want to do, a lot of what I do is serious and sort of ambient and dark and stuff, but I like to smile too.
That's the thing is like all us creative people are very dark on the inside, but we don't like to be.
Yeah,
you know?
Right.
Yeah,
I laugh too.
Yeah. So I don't know what you just said that made me think of this, but I saw a old timer gigging at this like divey place, playing a Beatles tune, and he got stuck in a circle, like he couldn't get to the next lyric.
Oh my god!
So like, what is an embarrassingly funny Jimmy C gig story?
Oh. All right. So I was playing this lakeside club, and it was just me and a female vocalist, and she was super hot. And
I would expect nothing less.
And it was summertime, and we just kept. It was supposed to be a 3 or 4 hour gig, but we just kept playing and playing. The crowd was there, and they didn't want us to stop.
Right,
and, we're getting up to like 6 hours maybe into the gig, and we might have had a drink or two, and the audience had definitely had a drink or two. And they started shouting out bids on her clothing.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, I'll give you $20 for your top. Hey, $50 for your jeans, and she was a total good sport, but they were getting a little bit aggressive with it. They were getting a little bit out of hand with it because they're stupid and they're drunk, and so I was like, what am I, chopped liver? I'm on the mic. I'm going, what about my clothes? Nobody wants my clothes?
Yeah.
Come on, whatever. And I go, yeah, or I don't know. I hope it was women who were bidding, but it doesn't matter either way. I don't remember who it was, but. They're going, yeah, well, all right. So I was just throwing up a decoy. I was distracting them, and I sold off my shirt, and then they got to the pants, and I was like, oh, boy. All right. Well, I had underwear on, so
that's a plus.
That was a plus.
Yeah.
So I dropped trowel on stage, and we're still doing songs, and I'm shirtless, pants down around my ankles, red underwear on, and we got pictures, and that's when that's when the guys finally backed off because
right because they're like no more $20 put it back on.
Yeah, exactly. So she walked around behind me and pulled my pants back up, and it worked. It totally worked. So that was pretty embarrassing, and what even made it more embarrassing on a sort of professional level was when the owner came over, and it was like some families way down the other end. He goes, what are you doing? Come on, what are you doing? Come on. And he started to get really pissed. No, the manager. And I feel bad because, I don't want to offend anybody and everything. I go, oh, I'm sorry, man. I feel really bad. We just got, carried away with the show and everything. That was the manager. Then the owner comes over and he goes, red underwear, huh? Yeah. He goes, good job. We're off the hook.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So that was probably one of the silliest moments. I'm sure there are others, but that's stuck in it like musically embarrassing like that.
Oh, like to the point where the crowd, and it wasn't much of a crowd, had to start singing the song to get him out of it. Oh, it was so sad. And it was such a nice guy.
I want to say I haven't been that like lost or stuck in a thing. Had some gear malfunctions, which can be pretty upsetting, but you can blame it on the gear.
Yeah, I mean that's out of your control.
Yeah. And
I don't think you're going to top the red underwear
lyrics,
story.
Forgotten chords, I don't think. I
think that was pretty fantastic. I think that hit exactly what. Yeah,
legendary.
That's awesome. So, we're trying to figure out what our podcast is exactly. And last time we asked, what is an influence on you, like a major influence on you, and what is something that you would recommend to people, not even necessarily music-wise, but what are you watching, listening to, reading, something that you're connecting, like when you hang out with your buddies, you're like, oh, you gotta check this out.
That's a really good question. I'm gonna say I think I want to answer that more generally, because specifically, I don't know what your listeners, we
don't have listeners yet, Jimmy.
I think I'd rather answer that in a more general way, because I don't. If I say, "Hey, listen to Tom Waits, he's amazing," and they may get to the first cut and go, "That Jimmy C's full of shit." Okay, I just don't like that sound.
Yeah.
Right. So rather than that, I'm going to say a couple of things. One is for like finding new music.
I swear to God, I thought you were going to say Finding Nemo.
Find it for.
I'm like, all right, enough of the Disney stuff, Jimmy.
No, first I'm going to say, go to see Finding Dory.
Oh, I haven't
watch
seen it
the
yet.
Octopus.
I haven't seen it yet.
There's one line. The Octopus is amazing.
Yeah, that's
and
like one of their hardest animations so far. Yeah.
You just see what they did with that octopus,
Yeah.
and the octopus can do everything.
Yeah.
And he steals a truck and locks the doors, and the humans are outside trying to get back in. You know what he says? "Suck it, biped."
Yeah,
that.
I got to see that. So.
I want to say that to humans every day. Anyway, so finding inspiration in music, as you say, is very easy now. We have so many search sources. I don't know for the visual arts, and I don't read that much. So, no, I do. I read stuff. My path has always been to connect. Like, you find something that moves you. Listener, hey, listener. There's something you know about that already moves you. A painting or a book or a poem or a song that is moving. Follow that trail. Go to something else by the same creator or something else that's in the same collection. Either it's in the same museum, wing of the museum, or it's on a list of books that are related to each other. I think that's the best way to find more inspiration.
It's interesting that you said it like that, because I used to, like, way back in the day, I used to read, like, all the heavy metal magazines. I was a big metalhead. And I would read articles or interviews with bands that I liked, and they would inevitably ask, well, what are you listening to? And I was listening to Faith No More before anyone heard about them. Soundgarden. Like,
you got off the metalheads?
Yeah, because, like, someone I read was like, oh, I'm listening to this band out of Seattle called Soundgarden. I'm like, I went out and got their album, and everyone's like, who the hell is that? Why are you listening to them?
Yeah.
6 months later, everyone's heard of them, and it was like...
It's really good.
So it's almost like find what you like, and then find out what they like.
Follow the trail.
Yeah.
Either find out what that creative person likes, or, as they say, you can follow a trail. Let's say you read a book and it's really great. Look up some reviews and see what the reviewers compare it to.
Yeah.
There was someone sort of like so-and-so's writing. Go check one of those.
Yeah.
I've always done it that way, and I think it's best, because then there's a trail and there's a reason for you to pick something, and not just that may be intrinsic to the thing, rather than, well, somebody told me it was good, which can be good too. You can find stuff that way. So that's my number one advice, is follow the trail of things you love and find a connection either through the person or the product or like you say, the field that they're in. The second one is exactly what you said. The second one I wanted to say was exactly what you said, which is read stuff by the people. Read interviews by the people whose work you love.
Totally stole your thunder. I'm so
what?
sorry. I totally stole your thunder.
Oh, no, it's totally not. No, it's not thunder.
Yeah.
See, it's weird because we're so simpatico.
Yeah.
We're locked in. No, that's. I don't mind that you said. I love that you said it first, because we're on the same path here, the same track. But that's super important. Is like, and that's easier than ever to find too. And again, we're not just talking about musicians, painters, artists, chefs, whatever it is that inspires you. Find out what that person says. Now, there are times when creative people, especially the unconsciously brilliant ones like yourself, there are times when those people can be real assholes in real life.
Hey!
You said you wanted that category.
Oh, God damn it.
So occasionally you'll read something by somebody who's brilliant and just go, man, what a douchebag, But mostly they're really smart.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing, and they're going to say things that will inspire you in another way or point you in another direction. Or, as you say, even more importantly, who inspired them? And there's the trail as well. So I think that's it. That's how I find inspiration. And then when you find something that inspires you, don't ever let it go.
Yeah,
keep it close to your heart.
That's good advice, because you can kind of oh, I grew out of that. And,
you can grow out of that,
Yeah.
and that's okay too. But as long as it's still working for you, it's part of your heart, and
Yeah.
keep it close and respect it as something that brought you maybe to a level where you felt you've outgrown it, but it's still part of your journey.
Nice. Well, excellent. Thank you for coming down, Jimmy.
Are we going to talk about sex now?
We do that off there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right. So thank you for coming. Craft Beer Cellar.
Thanks for having me. This was fun.
This was a lot of fun. Can you believe it's been an hour?
No.
Yeah, approximately, ballpark-wise.
I could have played 13, 14 songs. Probably,
Well, definitely we're going to have you back again and playing some music for us. So we're at the Craft Beer Cellar in Plymouth on Main Street. Check it out, and check out Jimmy C. in Sandwich at Tomatoes in Sandwich on Saturday.
Friday and Saturday night, 8 to 11.
And then Sunday at the Middle East in Cambridge. What time is that?
1 to 3.
1 to 3. And you can follow us on Facebook, or you can check us out on Inebri-art.com. And I don't know when we're going to post this, but hopefully it's soon. On July 25th, we'll be doing a drink and draw at the Driftwood Public House on Main Street in Plymouth with New Bedford artist Ryan Santos. His stuff is hanging there now. And August 1st, we will have our 1-year anniversary life drawing at the New World Tavern at also on... Oh, I'm sorry, 3-year anniversary. Thank you, Fish. At the New World Tavern, also on Main Street in Plymouth. That'll be around 7 o'clock. It's an $8 cover charge. We bring in a model. Everybody draws a model. You've been to that.
Yes.
And it was
great
fun.
Time.
Yeah, we have a huge crowd now.
Excellent.
Yeah, so thanks again, Jimmy. It's been a lot of fun.
Thanks for having me.
No problem, man. Thank you. All right.